This is the Morning After with Krys. I'm Crystal, and I'm with Susan today with Divine Intervention Matchmaking. We are going to talk about all things dating and matchmaking and being a matchmaker.
And how wacky and fun
Yeah.
and unpredictable it is,
It is, yes. But that's what makes it fun.
depending on the day.
Yes. Do you love Mondays?
Depends on my Sunday. No, I have to gear myself up to a Monday. Sometimes I do. Actually, Friday's my favorite day of the week, and it's
Why?
also the busiest day of the week.
It is,
So people
yeah.
have expectations for the weekend for dating, and then I'm happy to cut the energy from the week and have a nice drink and just do it that way because we've accomplished a lot, hopefully, in a week.
I always work the weekend.
Well, I think you're crazy. We already
But
know
then my
that.
Monday is like, I have a different Monday.
Right.
But I have a different life right now. If I
Yeah.
shifted that, then what do you feel about people dating at their level or what they think their level is?
Well, I think a lot of people are delusional
Yeah.
that come to us. And I think it's our job to educate them, which they may or may not be open to.
Do you tell people? Do you say?
It depends on where I am in the process, but a lot of times I do start in the beginning about expectations and what people think and women and their requirements. And sometimes people don't like it or they hang up the phone on me. So people don't want to sometimes hear the truth.
Yeah.
But in terms of, dating at the level, we were saying before, just talking casually, that in our business, there's that expression, like a lot of people are sixes,
Yeah.
thinking they're
They want a
eights,
10.
looking for tens. So it's like the aspirational side of dating. And then we
Yeah.
talked about money, right? So women, like how
Want
often
someone at their level.
women
I hear
want,
that all the time.
yeah, their level or more in
Yeah.
terms of a level. And men don't really care. They want someone nice and smart, but
Pretty.
they don't care about your bank account. Oh, no,
No.
looks are always there.
Yeah. And I believe that. Like, I find when I was, aggressively dating somebody at my income level was, I had to have that. It makes a big difference. And I didn't realize until I was in the middle of it that it was an issue.
We don't want to date someone who's impoverished. Like you want someone who can afford to get you
Nobody
things.
ever has, but people, it's not even about I don't even believe it's about the dollar amount. I believe it's like how they feel about money. Like some people are more relaxed and they believe in going out and paying for dinner. They believe they think that's a good idea. They like it. Where some people are like, oh, if I go out and spend this money on dinner, it's going to change my week. Or people who think not poverty, what is it? Frugally?
Yeah, cheap.
Cheap.
No one likes cheap. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, no one likes cheap. I have dated cheap. But actually, I feel like I've dated not necessarily cheap, like guys who would pay to take me out for dinner, but they were more frugal because their income was lower. And then I'm like, I can't do this.
I think it depends on degrees. So in terms of at your level, like we talk about women, it doesn't matter who the woman is. I think maybe 99.9% of women want exactly their level or higher.
But I have a lot of clients who will pay. They're like, oh, well, I just paid. Or
What do you mean,
they
paid
fit the
on the
bill.
date?
Paid on the date or paid for a trip or bought him nice gifts when he was not reciprocating. And then it didn't work out.
Yeah, the guy needs to be cut because he's not doing anything.
Yeah, I don't know why people put up with that.
Well, women want to be romanced, right?
Yeah, they do.
And so the guy needs to step up, but there has to be some reciprocity, for sure. But on the look, what do you think about looks like men and women for dating and at the same level?
Ugh, well, everybody has their own idea of what they think is good looking. And then once you figure that out, like I told you, I have that one client, she wanted a 10 and she was not a 10. And she made changes without me making any suggestions because I thought she did look great. She lost weight. She got some Botox. She changed her hair. She changed her dating.
Good.
But it's unfortunate, though, that you have to do that, though.
Dating and this business
Yeah.
is a very superficial business, and you need to bring your best version of yourself to the table.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys, if they have a big wallet and they're not that attractive, the woman's still going to like them. And I was talking to someone else this morning. Do you remember the site beautifulpeople.com?
Yes.
Yeah. So beautiful women often don't necessarily care. I mean, women now sort of want everything, but they're prepared, if you're really beautiful, to compromise to get other qualities sometimes in the guy. And the guy may not be as attractive and can still get that person. But beauty, excuse me, is always subjective. And there's
It
other
is.
traits that can compensate for that.
I had this one client. He's an older client now.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, he's matched. So I feel confident talking about this, but I forgot about him until today. He always wanted like a C cup or more.
Oh, I've had one of those too.
And, he was very successful. He did very
Mm-hmm.
well. And even like second date, he would say, if you want boobs, I'll buy you boobs.
Mm-hmm.
And girls would take him up on that offer. And of course, they date him, get their boobs, and then break up with them. And he'd be like, I don't get it. Well, wait to see if they like you before you
Yeah.
offer to buy them boobs. Obviously, they're going to take the boobs and then go. Because he was hard to have a conversation with because he was so shallow.
People like that really bug me, Crystal. So that's what bugs me about our business. And I had a similar situation where I was having to call lingerie shops, and the guy is saying, I just want someone with a big heart. And I'm like, yeah, she's got to have a big heart and a big boob. Like, you got to look beyond that, So our job too, like those levels, that doesn't last. You need to have way more.
He's been with the last girl for like 2 years.
Well, that's
so
fantastic.
she must just be, yay.
So that's exciting. That's a success story.
She loves her boobs. Yep.
And he loves them too.
Yeah. Oh my God. I should check on him actually. Aside from like me telling the boob story, what's the wildest request that you've had? I just thought
In a
of
person?
one that we've both have gotten, but we won't say that one.
Are
The
we
guy-
not allowed to?
The guy who calls us and says he wants a girl that farts in leggings.
Okay, that's not a real person though. That's like someone who's mentally deranged. No, I
Yes,
think
yeah.
that's the people like that I'd hang up on.
Yeah, we both get these messages of a guy asking for someone who wears leggings and farts in them.
In the 20. Anyway, that
Like, what the
person was
fuck?
not real. No, I said he was mentally disturbed. That's very atypical. The wildest request, if I had something really wacky out there, I would not work with that person.
Yeah.
It's more the wildest thing are these lists. So I've had people give me Excel spreadsheets, not guys, because guys will
Women,
look at you
yeah.
and go, "Oh, I like you." But I've had women detail like 50 things on an Excel spreadsheet, like they're ordering off a vehicle manufacturer
Yeah.
to custom build their person, like Build-A-Bear. That to me is beyond crazy.
But you hear these stories where you're supposed to like, I don't know, it's not a story. Like they say if you want to manifest your relationship, you're supposed to write it out. Write
Yep.
out everything you want.
Yep.
Like I've made a list. I just
Yep.
made a list like not that long ago. There's lists. You don't
How
believe
long
in
is
that?
your list?
Like a page.
Do you have a whole page of a list?
Yeah.
Okay, we're having a sidebar chat
But
after.
I add things in there, not just like looks and income and like traits. I add things like, loves my son, accepts my family. Like,
Those are important.
yeah. So, but that would be a page. Like if you were to sit out, I mean, you haven't done it well, you probably never had to do it because now you've been married for how long?
A long time.
See? So it's different for you. But like if you were to make a list, like
But I wouldn't.
it would, why?
Because people that come for lists, I think people are about energy in a package. And you can be super hot, good looking. There's not much going on at home.
Yeah.
And it's really when you connect with someone like a man or a woman, it's how they make you feel when you're with them. And that's kind of like the slow burn.
You can make a list and then go out and meet somebody and that person can only have one or two things on your list. Like if you have chemistry, you forget about the list.
Hopefully. And a lot of people do. I like that I look at the manifestation thing. Yes, write down your goals.
Yeah.
Like I would say I want to meet like a person who I'm attracted to who treats me well, and they may not come in the package that you think that you want. So like manifestation, or you pray for something or you want something or you write it down, for sure.
Vision
Great.
boards.
A vision board, but life doesn't work always like a vision board. It's kind of like a feeling. I just think lists are a guideline, and you always have, what I say for matchmaking is you always have to leave room for magic every single time.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you leaving room for magic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I throw everything out the window. If guys got like nice hair, nice smile,
And confident.
confident, yeah. I've never met an unconfident man personally, but even my clients, I feel like, well, maybe it's fake confidence, but most of them are pretty
Alpha
confident.
dog.
Yeah.
That's good. In terms of fault finding, I think our brains, because there's a lot of fear when you're dating that it might work, that I'm going to fall in love, I'm going to make myself vulnerable again.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, for the most part, I don't want a gender split, but I'm going to say a lot of women, well, this is actually a fact on the brain's difference. Women analyze stuff to death, and the guy's not doing that. So
Some men do.
some do, and then they might have female energy or something.
Yes, yeah.
But a lot of women, I heard something on the radio yesterday about some woman talking. She didn't want to go out with a guy because he put too much ketchup on his plate. Like, so just,
Oh my God.
like, that's kind of crazy. Or
That is
so,
crazy.
you know, the fault finding in the beginning, people are looking for reasons to vote you off the island.
Yeah.
And you need to flip your brain and say, I'm looking for reasons to say yes, not reasons to say no, because we're all flawed. No one is perfect. And what I do like about men, I don't know this about you, but sometimes women get really defensive when you critique them or you try to give them coaching or whatever. And men, for the most part, they're waiting for us to tell them what it is that we want to do because they understand direction. And you just got to say, Bob, I don't like it when you put too much ketchup on your plate or whatever. And Bob may not do that next time. But that's not a reason to get rid of Bob. Like, you have to look at, like, not stupid shit. You got to look at the big things. And you have to give people a chance. And people are nervous on a first date.
Yeah, I think you need to give somebody almost 3 dates, unless it
Yes.
was really bad.
Yeah.
And lots of people don't do that.
Yeah. At least 2.
Yeah.
And people reveal themselves differently. And some people are more confident. Some are not. People, to me, are really surprising.
That mutual match that we made together. We won't say too much.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was like, no. And then he decided, because he made a mistake, he judged her for something that he ended up doing with another match.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up flying to meet her. And now he's waiting to see if she likes him.
Yeah.
Like, you got to give people a chance.
Totally.
Yeah.
And we all screw up. And
Everyone
the one
does,
thing,
yeah.
the word that you used, judgy,
Yeah.
what really bothers me about people is how judgmental and superficial they are.
Yeah.
And we make so many incorrect assumptions all the time. And what I really love is, like, when there's someone who just reveals who they are and they're not at all what you expected.
Like all the cards on the table.
No, just, well, some people do that. They
Yeah.
reveal their whole life, like
do that.
verbal diarrhea in the beginning, and that's a disaster. Don't ever do that in dating.
Yeah.
But just some people hold things back, and I don't know about you, but I've learned that not to make assumptions, because there's all of these, like, I'm actually still surprised when sometimes people, you're thinking they're going to say X, but their brain is actually thinking something else. So you need to let someone show you who they are, and it can be revealed over time. But at the end of the day, in dating, it's how someone makes you feel.
Yeah. And that even still, I think, needs 3 dates, because you could be nervous and you can't tell how they make you feel. Or if you're drinking,
Yeah.
right? You got to
Yeah.
know how you feel about somebody when you're not drinking.
But a couple cocktails in one should be like 2 max. But just in terms of, even, I'm going to use the analogy like girlfriends. So when you meet a female friend, you're going to connect with her right away because she makes you feel good, or you feel like there's something in common. So I think with dating, the most important thing on a first date, instead of looking for reasons not to like that person, you want to go straight to common ground. Like, what is it that you can connect on? So if you're from a certain place, and that's why you got to write things in a bio that someone can pick up on, because you relate to
Like
people
what?
who are like you. I have a dog. I was in the media business too, or I did this, or I was at Cal. Like, just anything that you can have a conversation about.
That's true. Yeah. So as a matchmaker, what do you wish that people would actually ask for?
Not much. No, I think they should leave it to us.
Actually, that's a really good point. And, you know, some of the people that I find that have the most success are, it's funny because you know how, you know, we were talking about astrology earlier, and there's people who are like, I don't know if they're Virgos or the A-type, like accountants or engineers. Like when they call us, and well, when they call me and they ask me for what they want, their list is so small. Like they barely say anything. But in their mind, they obviously know. I feel they have the most success because I just throw it all out there, and then they're picking through that, versus the people who have that massive list and then I can't produce? Like, do you find that?
Well, what I do find is that you're coming to an expert who's going to tell you what's good for you, and they're coming to you because what you're doing is not working. So have faith in that person. And we've already profiled the people. So we're already, doing an in-depth interview. Someone could say something and you go, oh, I don't know about you, but I think they're better for this person. So yes, you can have parameters, keep them loose. And I tell people always have room for expanding your requirements or criteria. And I'm going to say too that you often fall in love with someone that you're not expecting.
It's true. How long are your consultations?
Depends on the person.
So you don't cut it off at like, you don't
Oh, I
say,
do a phone call
yeah.
first for like 15 minutes, and then go to get more information on the profile. A lot of stuff now is done via Zoom after, since COVID, everything's changed. Before they used to be like 45 minutes to an hour. So it depends on the person and what they want to do. And some people just want to chat about life, which is not the intent. Like this matchmaking is a fluid process, right? So you get to know them over time. It's not just like I'm coming in here, things change, you get feedback.
Over feedback and But some of my most successful matches are people who had a consultation that was like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Because we do this because we're intuitive. We've already profiled them. We're good at what we do. We see opportunity. We see potential. This is not an easy job. Like people think, oh my God, your job is so fun. This is the hardest thing.
I would love to do that job. Actually,
try it.
One of my clients, she's been my client since I first started. I love her. I won't say her name, but she's amazing. She's been both of our clients, and she's just the most kind-hearted person. She wanted to be a matchmaker.
Wow.
And she was like, has thought about it. She's been approached by another matchmaker to buy her business. And like just after working through the process, she's like, I'll never do it. Because she would go out, for drinks with me, and she would really learn what it was like. And she's like, I can't believe I wanted to do that.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of like romanticize it. You think it's going to be like glamorous, or people do think that.
Bedrock and roses like marriage, which is not easy.
I do love my job. I know I was meant to do this, but it's not like, it's not all roses.
I ask for strength every day.
Yeah. Oh,
and so when I have a bad day, I'm going to call someone else like you or Jane or whoever it is. And then we talk about it, and then they put things in perspective, and you keep on going. Because at the end of the day, we're making a difference.
Yeah.
I'm using I was going to be a psychiatrist. Thank God I'm not. But I'm using my psychology degree on people. Yeah. People are their own worst enemy. And we do this because people have to realize at the end of the day, we're doing this to help people. This business is not for the faint of heart. I miss my corporate days where I could just...
Do you really?
Yeah. Sometimes, launch a product and your brain's not thinking. And I give you shit because you're working like 24/7, 7 days a week. And you got to like have boundaries and protect yourself.
Building. I love just like, I'm still building.
Right.
So I need to work more. So what do you feel about like getting out and dating? Like what's your advice for that? Or because Stampede's coming out.
Yeah. So I just think everyone hibernates in the winter. They're miserable. Yes. They're not happy. Like with spring, there's a change. So I think one of the things in dating, know your market and know what's going on in your market. So like in Vancouver, we're the most active city. Like if you're single and you don't do something outdoors, you're crazy. Not even hiking, but you can do something that you like even just walking, but looking at the person. Yeah. But I know Stampede's coming up. So it's sort of like the Olympics. You guys get like a positive influx of, 1 million people going to that. And people don't do work for 10 days. I remember being here going, is this really going on? And so people are happy. Some people are drinking starting at breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
Don't drink all day long. But I just think it's an opportunity to meet people.
It is.
And get out there.
Like even in line, because some lines you have to wait in for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in line, you talk to someone.
Yeah.
Like you talk to random strangers.
When you're hopefully you've paid to pass the line, but...
Well, not always. But no, it just talks about what we were talking about. When you're out, talk to strangers. Like, so if you're in a restaurant with a cute friend that you have, and you don't talk to anyone, like what's that all about? So during Stampede, people are happy. Degrees of being gooned, i.e. being drunk or sober.
Earlier in the day. Like make your efforts early.
Well, you can do it anytime. So it depends on what event you go to. If you're newly single and you haven't had action in a while, I'd say maybe you want to reactivate that part of your brain. Go out and see if there's a cute guy that you can kiss, somewhere in a bar, or flirt, brush up on your two-stepping. Like people are just wanting to meet people. And one thing,
just get out and have fun.
Well, I also think too, women sometimes, I don't know if who falls into this category,
Yeah.
but women are afraid to take the lead or whatever, and guys always have to, they're expected to take the lead.
Yeah,
It's
but
so
don't you
nice.
think they should? Like masculine, feminine energy?
I think a girl should say hi. Like I
Yeah.
just signal the guy to say it's okay, or just even smile at the person.
Smile. It's
Yeah,
more feminine.
smile and
Yeah.
say hi, and then let's see if the guy can approach, because that's kind of a signal. But there's actually a really good book that I like. It's called Make Your Move, and people like people who like them. And it's about women actually doing the approach, but it's a game that's subtle.
Like the Bumble.
Yeah,
Bumbles.
you're initiating first, and
Yeah.
then hopefully the guy's not asleep at the wheel, and if he's single, he'll come and say hi or whatever. But, in today's day and age, you can still be very feminine by talking to someone and doing the approach. And then the guy knows you're not going to blow him off. And guys are terrified by women in these big groups, because I hear my kids talking about it
It's true.
in their 20s. So don't go out with a pack of like 10 cowgirls during Stampede. Like, pick a friend, go out there, or even I just think it's great to sit at a bar, at a steakhouse, because that's where guys are. They
Yeah.
like meat.
Steakhouse.
With a martini, and just they'll more come up to you probably by yourself than a whole group. And women have to be nice to people. If a guy comes over and has the balls to talk to you, always just say nice, thank you, I appreciate it.
Like
Yeah.
Wine Wednesday in Calgary. I
You
don't know.
gotta go
You've
out for
never
Wine
been.
Wednesday.
No, I have gone. It's different. You got to be there at 3:30. It's so busy, and everybody's sharing wine because wine's half price, right?
I mean,
so,
they're sharing wine.
like guys will buy bottles and
Oh,
pour.
okay, yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
okay,
like
yeah.
a big, party. But the women get so cliquey and it's not great. But it's fun to go. It's a meat market. It's interesting, but it's like the same people all the time. People got to like spread it out. Go
So are
other
they
places.
cross-pollinating between tables? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's
Yeah.
good.
That's the good thing about it.
Right. Do you know what? You don't know someone's story. And there was a really good book I read, and I think it's from, oh my God, I have a mind blank. This guy writes, Malcolm
Two
Gladwell.
good books you brought up. Oh, I know who.
Malcolm Gladwell's written all these books, and I'm pretty sure this is in his book, but there's a story about a person on a train who's being really miserable, and then it comes out later that this person just had all of this terrible stuff that happened to them, and someone was judging as to why they were behaving that way.
Yeah.
And I've learned you don't judge people because you just don't know what's
Their
behind
day.
the curtain.
Yeah.
And so the person that's there, maybe they had a really crappy week. Maybe they don't have a good social circle, because women are the ones who often have better social circles than guys if
Yeah.
guys don't do sports. So people are lonely. Like, if you don't have connection with people, you're
But
miserable.
even the guys who do sports, like they don't go out with their sports friends or whatever you call it. You know what I
They
mean?
do. They're drinking buddies.
They drink in the parking lot or they go to the sports bar where there's literally no women.
So you know what? Here's a tip right now for the people
Yeah.
that are watching who are single.
Go to a
Get your
sports
ass
bar.
to a sports bar and start watching sports, or just trying to. I mean, I'm a sports junkie. Sorry, I hit the microphone.
You are?
I am. We have sports on 24/7 because I have boys in the house, and I
Yeah.
love sports. Not playing them necessarily, but watching them. But I'll know as much as guys. So learn something that you're genuinely interested in. But I guarantee we should do an experiment with you.
We should.
Yeah, you should go out into a sports bar, but don't be stupid. Like, I went to a hockey game with
No,
someone
that's
that
so fun.
we were in like the suite or something, and I said, "Can you name one hockey player on the team?" And she said no. In terms of sports, like, just know some basic stuff about
I
something.
went to a hockey school, like literally a hockey school. That's bred for hockey players. I've dated professional hockey players, professional football players, and I don't know anything about hockey or football.
I have a hard time believing you don't know anything about hockey. If you
I
went
don't.
Okay, well then, you know what? You don't. You look good.
But you don't really need to know, as long as it looks like you know. Like, what are you really going to have a conversation about it?
I do. But do you know what? I just yak about
Just
that kind of stuff.
go and make it look like you're paying attention.
Well, what I would lead with if I were you is just that I went to a boarding school for hockey players. I'm very familiar with your life. And so you should be watching every hockey game if you have time, or going out to like a great sports bar and just say, "This is my area, but don't get too technical with me." So you've got good stories to tell. So for Stampede, just some tips are just go out there. Like, in the summer, in the spring, you just got to go outside.
Yes, like midday, because I think people do start drinking early here. Corporate events happen early. You got to get out midday because everyone's sloppy by the end of the day. But there's so much going on. Doesn't matter where you are.
Right.
You
Well,
can
I'm
meet
just going to
somebody.
say during Stampede, just like on dating, don't get sloppy.
Yeah.
So it's like you're going to a corporate event.
Well,
You're not
people
going to
do.
get gooned, right? Well, just
Open bar.
yeah, just try to be mindful. And like, I tell my kids when they're out partying, no girl likes a sloppy drunk.
Yeah.
So like no one likes a sloppy drunk. So go out during Stampede. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of liquid courage.
Yeah.
1 or 2 drinks to take the edge off, but just be mindful and you never know who you can meet. And I would say,
I know a lot of people have met at Stampede.
yeah.
Yeah, even in this house, actually, there's people who have met at
And
Stampede.
have they stayed
Yeah,
together?
and they're still together.
I love that.
Yeah. Because
Did
there's
they
so many
sleep with the
people
person
everywhere.
on the first night? Do you know?
Some of them have, yeah.
Okay, and it lasted.
It lasted. I don't think that determines if you're going to stay with someone or not. I don't believe in that 3-date rule or
Right.
if you're going to do it,
Yeah.
you're going to do it. If it's going to work, it's going to work.
Depends on how judgy the other person is.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. But if it will, it will. Like, I don't think there's a rule on that. I don't think every single time if you sleep on the
I
first
agree with
date.
that. Yeah.
That's one thing. Like, everyone always asks, is there a rule? I'm like, no, if you're going to do it, do it. But if it doesn't work out, then just don't be hard on yourself. Like, whatever, let it go.
I think there has to be flexibilities and allowances for certain situations. I don't think there is a hard and fast rule. You know what I say? They're not rules. They're guidelines.
Guidelines.
So you're
yeah.
always like everything in dating and matchmaking, there's flexibility.
Yeah.
And some people are like, oh, I love breaking your rule, which is like the first date rule. Because what happens on a first date is people overshare.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they want to connect with someone.
Yeah.
Women might think, oh, I'm meeting you for coffee. Is this my future husband?
Yeah.
Or people like verbal diarrhea their entire life. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Dating is a game and know how to play it. And do the slow reveal on stuff. And when someone knows you, and they have a connection, like you could do something completely ridiculous.
And they let it go.
Yeah, because you're already friends with them and they like you. So they've
Yeah.
chosen to have you in their circle. But don't do that batshit crazy stuff in the beginning because that's not going to work.
That's right. Thank you so much, Susan, for coming today.
Thank you for having me, Crystal. That was fun.